That's feel like that's the only way the gap can continuously be closed, because how consistent, even as solos, Swizzy and Vanyak have been playing all weekend long, not just today. And so an 89 points with the point multiplier, like, yeah, one win can close the gap, but not the way these guys have been playing. It not only took a team contesting them right out of the gates, but it took another third party from just outside of Brawler's Battlegrounds to move over in that direction to kind of end and stop that run. And just by judging off, I'm not sure they're going to be contested this time around.
I mean, again, very interesting, right? Oh no. Oh no, don't speak too soon. Forzen and Seb, they are gliding in. It looks like Vanyak and Swizzy have the better drops. No, maybe not actually. No, yeah, Seb and Forzen land first. Vanyak gonna land here on this mythic chest. He's gonna get that SMG. A bit of damage just to get things kicked off here for this Osborne fight. And this is gonna be huge. Again, we saw last time Vanyak was able to win the 1v2, right? So in theory, they did win and beat these guys off spawn, but the third party rolled in, and that was the problem.
And they're probably waiting for it again. Probably looting up as fast as they can, because they are uncontested at that split behind Baller's Battleground, just southeast. So the longer the fight like this takes to even start, let alone finish, the bigger chance they have to kind of gain that high ground position on the mountain right behind and start the third-party shots down below to kind of create a no-win scenario for either one of these teams.
Absolutely. It'll be key as well to see what happens as Forzen and Seb actually choose. Yeah, they don't even want to get involved in it. They're saying, yeah, we're going to back out. They're running away. But even that loot taken away from the first place team might be a bit of an annoyance. Marius and Sangil, this fight that we've seen over and over again here at the Underworld, will finally go in their favor against Turtle and Cheeps.
There's a way better chance to loot up. Get a much better start to the games that they've been having so far, but not everybody having that same sort of luxury. You got two teams already fighting it down, but a third one ready to come in and disrupt it all. Potential 24 points worth of eliminations for any one of these teams if they can figure out a way to snatch them all. And for Fastroki and Robon, that'll definitely do wonders for their position on the leaderboard. Can hopefully push them inside of the top 5.
So it's a messy one. Nobody wants to make the wrong move. Everybody's sort of waiting for someone else to misstep, make a mistake. We'll see when people's patience starts to run out and they decide they want to disengage, or whether they want to force the fight to happen. And so we've already seen one team drop out, yeah. We ain't got time for all this, man. You guys can sit there and hide in the buildings all you want. We'll go loot up. And then for Stroke and Robin saying, all right, I would also like some loot, so I am going to leave myself.
It's like one of those situations where, as confident as you feel going into a match, going into certain situations like this, it's a whole different feeling when you're actually, you know, fighting a team like Roban and Fastroki boxed on top, and then you know the third team is coming in, and it almost does stuff to you mentally, almost makes you second guess, is what I'm doing the correct play, is it not? And I think it forces kind of teams to kind of realize they disengage, they take it slowly, but they even look back, land a couple of great shots like that. Looks like a body shot with a sniper, maybe a headshot with the DMR. This is where I'm looking at a lot of teams to really start to make some moves. Swizzy, Vanyak doesn't look like they won the fight, but it does look like that team that was once contesting them, that went down to a 2v1 onto Vanyak, are leaving, disengaging out of this position. And because no fight is happening here, you also see it on the minimap that that third-party potential team is also leaving. So kind of going back to basics, with the only real difference being contested.
Shouldn't affect them too much. I think what Vanyak and Swizzy have shown is that if you allow them to play a game out, they will be problem makers. Oh no.
Like the sneaky plays. Oh my. Didn't think he would actually run back in the direction, and they immediately get their position known.
Oh,
about 80 damage just like that, continuing up on it. This is not good for Reason, but this is fantastic for Queasy and Thomas. Takes one good team out of the lobby, or at least half of it, as Reason is found out. And I'm about to say, Vidil nowhere in sight, but this is the risk you take for splitting up as far as you do to try to cover ground and get loot and search for yourself.
I'm what's going through Vidil's head right now. Not the best spot to be in, but Queasy and Thomas do really well again to just capitalize. We know they've been cooking up strats for how to get Surge early and identifying that these guys play very split and trying to find a way to cut them off as they loot and farm. Makes perfect sense. Really well played from Thomas and Queasy.
This is a very tough position because Thomas and Queasy always stay around that location regardless of elims. So if they continue in that trend, it does look like Vidil might run into him sooner or later. Fast strokey Robon finally disengage out of their original spot. They have more than enough heals to continue to maintain a strong presence deep within the storm like they are now. It's not too far off, and they even have an option to grab a couple pairs of wings if they kind of work that into their own game plan. And just as we tune in to Teeny and Chap, they already take down Andalex, leaving Sato by himself, fresh off of a victory royale and back-to-back finals appearances for himself. He can only have that positive aspect last for so long, especially with Chap Teeny beginning to aggress in, and they take you out just as quick as you enter the lobby.
That's what Chap and Teeny do. Fighting is just their go-to.
They've been one of the most aggressive duos throughout the weekend, finding opportunity after opportunity. And this one's a little bit of a switch up that we've seen so far. Queasy and Thomas actually getting access to a forecast tower. I don't know how often they've been able to possess this forecast tower, but a team as experienced as them getting the chance to see a zone ahead every single time with their rotations they've been making and as deep and long as they've been lasting into the storm. I think as long as they don't stray too far away from their game plan, this will be great.
The answer there is not very often. They've not been getting forecasts very often, but they will certainly try to take advantage of it now, but they will be getting pushed here by Forzen and Seb. They're in the box, but Queasy will come up with the goods and deal the damage needed. Thomas there to support as well, and so they'll take both of those guys out again. More damage now. Their surge is sorted. They have enough shields to get themselves back up into a comfortable spot. The materials aren't too bad either. With forecast, these guys are going to be really set up to have a good game here.
Yeah, I expect them at least top 10 in this one.
Oh, was one of them stolen?
Oh, it does look like Vanyak with the water bending just steals it away, man. Wondering how he was going to get his surge no longer contested. Well, he made an easy find, and now Vidil still floating around this direction. Because remember, it was Reason who got taken down earlier on around this spot of the map by Queasy and Thomas.
I love how Swizzy and Vanyak were just like, nah, we're getting involved with these 7 and Forzen guys. You ain't letting them get out of this game without us having a say about it. And now they need to be careful because the deal has a lot of that same passion, that same aggression that they have. You don't want to end up in the Vidil highlight reel.
It really just takes one good shot by Vidil to turn the tables in this fight, especially on someone like Swizzy, who's already missing 50 shields. But now they're just pressuring from multiple angles, trying to take the pieces away, lessen the options that he has to move around. But Vidil, I feel like he knows exactly this, creating so much space for himself. The first chance he gets, he even goes up a few layers, but the onslaught of attack from Swizzy will continue. Shot getting fired off from multiple directions, and eventually the numbers game adds up, and Vanyak and Swizzy take him down.
Yeah, Swizzy did well there as Vidil tried to aggress, tried to force the issue, tried to force the 1v1. Just held the shotgun out and slowly dealt with him.
Uh-oh. Does look like they're going to try to do it again, but Queasy, not as patient as he could have been, just fires a shot a little bit too early, gives away his position. Crucial knowledge for Swizzy and Vanyak in a moment like that, and they move themselves closer and closer to that bunker that we know Queasy and Thomas like to fight for. It does look like they're going to position, probably box up on that bunker. I think Queasy and Thomas know it. Instead of moving over in that direction, they choose to go elsewhere, get a little bit more elevation, because they know they still need a little bit more when it comes to that storm surge. But what a better place to gain that elevation than Mount Olympus itself.
100%. Tayson and Veno know a lot about elevation. We've seen them base up here on this building of Penson Fields quite a lot this season. And even though they might be done with it here at this point, with the water bending in hand, I wouldn't rule anything out for Tayson. It'd be a great chance to get some more damage, get some more surge tags. Cammy and Seti in the bunker now. Gonna make the most out of that one. So use the base here as well. You can see the bush at the top just to give the extra bit of protection.
We know they more than likely already have a ton of extra heals, and with the bunker opening up right beneath, they can get even more. And you can see around the map a lot of the players that positioned high up above. Malbuka, no more stash in sight, as that contest over towards Grim Gates, even if it's not an actual contest deep down, will continue.
Yeah, we saw Mustache go down in the feed at the hands of Eclipse, I believe. And it seems to be a pattern with these guys, even though they're able to get out of Grim Gate a lot of the time with loot and not have too many problems on spawn. It's the mid games that have just really looked rather painful for Manabuka and Mustache. And again, for the reigning champions, you know, have some compassion for them. Mid games, Storm Surge, it's not been easy for everyone. Everyone's having struggles with it this season. But it really has been a problem they just haven't been able to solve over the course of the last 11 games.
Yeah, it's something that's going to be so prevalent. When lobby that is this stacked, nobody really wanted to take too many risks, especially the longer and longer the day goes. There's only this game and one more left. So it'd be disastrous to kind of risk so much for so little this late in the game. As Fast Roki just trying to get the reboot card back for Robon. Probably try to give him a second chance, but here's some footsteps moving in his direction, and that's where he has to quickly about face and try to figure out where he's going to go to try to stay alive. Surprised to see they're just trying to loot over for scraps just to the north. Fast Roki does have an escape plan with a launch pad that is back there, as long as it's not destroyed at the very minimum. But it does look like he might think that nobody else is still here. Chap Teeny still around this position, so Fast Roki does go for the reboot. He's given up his entire position and the fact that he is by himself in an instant.
He's making a lot of noise. He doesn't know these guys are here. And you see as soon as the reboot started, the arrows in the bottom right just instantly turned to face him. Chap and Teeny probably just gonna let the reboot happen and then get both their limbs. I mean, Fastroki knows they're there now, but yeah, they're literally just gonna wait for it to happen, build up right on it so they can just take Robin down. And Fastroki will put up a fight, but you might just anger these guys even more. I don't know if I'd want to do that. Robin down there.
God, I love the attempt coming out from Fast Roki. He builds up to try to contest them so that way they don't got free shots to go onto Roban. But it's almost going to be a waste because he floats down to his demise, goes down altogether. Teeny trying to stay alive, getting aggressive. He knows that Fast Roki's weak, and now they're just both bull rushing into the box, trying to use the strength in numbers. But as soon as Fast Roki creates a little bit too much distance for their liking, they reposition, use the Flowberry Fizz to once again go on the onslaught of attack. And Fast Roki's time is quickly running out as he finally gets put down.
And just like that, 12 extra points to add to the tally for these guys, 1,000 above Surge. The maps are looking good. Now if they can just get themselves into a nice spot into the zone, this could be a real big game for Chapintini. And again, a lot of pressure on Chap to perform in his first grand finals. I said I think we'll see the best placement of a rookie we've seen in the FNCS and EU in the past 2 years. Currently sitting in 4th, they could finish even higher than that by the end of it.
It's a true test, I feel like, how good the region actually is, that you're having a rookie contend in one of the toughest FNCSs we've seen in a long time. And he's not only just contending, he actually has a legitimate shot to take over that first place spot, to grab his global championship spot as well. It's top 5. And if Queasy, Thomas, Malibu, or Mustache, either one of those two teams who already have their spot end up into the top 5, then it'll just roll down to the next player on that list. So with two of those guys actually that close, we can see one of those roll down positions come through.
Teddy and Cammy playing in the storm. as we often see them do. I'm just trying to get some shots over towards those players there. I believe that was Chapentini probably rotating past. Not able to connect anything. Yeah, it was Chapentini. You can see them now swimming their way on in.
This is going to end up being such a great rotation for them as long as they can find heals afterwards. Because you got to think with everybody moving in from the north side of the map, the west side of the map as well, there's going to be virtually nobody. Because even teams like Queasy, Thomas, Vanyak, and Swizzy, they've rotated away from this spot thinking it was going to kind of center up and that's where they need to go. So you're going to be one of the first teams there. It's going to be very, very similar to previous games where Cammy and Seti did the same thing.
Yeah, they might even go up to that house you see just up on the cliff. Maybe even go into brawlers as well. Obviously, they've got these bandies, but just to cap themselves off. It will be something they'll be able to find for sure.
It makes it easier for them to do it because they already have 4 eliminations. We saw them pick up 2 just moments ago, so they really don't have to worry about Surge probably for the next couple of zones, not just 1 or 2. Squeezy and Thomas have made their rotation back over towards Brawler Battlegrounds. They don't need much in terms of their loot, but they're just trying to see if there is anything that could help bolster their loadout. You see them find that extra Flowberry Fizz, immediately grabbing that, trading it for the Wings of Icarus. And if they only have 1 between the 2, I think that's an A+ play. Cringe is going to be by himself. 6 below the damage threshold. We just saw him fall, but with other players in the lobby getting active, a couple eliminations. He's going up and down that threshold, and it is currently active as well, so 6 below is not where you want to position yourself. Only a few more seconds for Cringe before he goes down altogether, and it doesn't look like he's even going to try.
Again, just showcasing how tough it is to stay up there when you're doing well day 1 of FNCS in this current format. Cringe and Nom surprised a lot of people, but they're struggling to hold on. This game wasn't the one. They're going to have to make it count in game 12. Manabuke and Mustache, though, have gotten themselves back into this game. Mustache is back up. And even though they aren't looking amazing on the material front, there is still a big chance for them to make some waves in this game.
It almost seems like even though they do not have the mythic gatekeeper, they still might have the medallion to give them the dashes. Just judging by the fact that Malabuka has all 3 and a fresh rebooted Mustache has them as well, and they're immediately trying to dash in. They know they need to figure out an elimination. They need to start getting some loot if they plan on making it further and further into this game, but that opportunity immediately gets shut down by Flixie.
Yeah, as you were saying, they want to try to take that fight. Need to be careful about how they go about it. Benefits of having a dash here, right? Being able to rotate like this, just get past, get ahead of everybody, get yourself in the spot. Just on that zone line. Big find for Venom and Tayson here.
Yeah, this is what we needed. We needed them to kind of continue to pick up the pace when it came from Storm Surge. Tayson going down early has typically put Venno in a situation to where he has to hunt around the map, not only for a position to get the reboot itself, but Storm Surge, so that way they don't drastically fall below the threshold, so that when he gets back up, they immediately have to go for a fight. So they're doing well in terms of almost every aspect. Maybe they can have just a little bit more materials, but considering the circumstances, Venno and Tayson have a legitimate shot at winning this game.
Absolutely, we've seen them do well here in these brawler zones already. That's where they got their win, so they like playing in this part of the map. Cammy and Seti are a split duo right now. Cammy playing this out solo, and even though we've seen many solo performances, this could be a tough one. Let's see how Seti went down. Teamy waiting here in this box. Oh no, baited. Just, boxed up, boxed like a fish. Get him out of here. Seti down. And Teamy and Chap just adding to that tally, right? Again, we know they're one of the contenders, and being able to really mess up one of your biggest contenders on that leaderboard in Cammy and Seti is just so useful now going into these last 2 games.
And it's just unfortunate for Seti going down, taking the bait, because look at this rotation. Virtually a free rotation for Cammy. Nobody really in his line of sight or direction. And the only other duo that might have a chance to try to target them out are so focused on everybody else trying to move in and close the distance inward that Cammy will not be contested at all. And Helmets have a free run. Toos is going to be looking like the only one to kind of watch and have a chance to look in that direction. But just judging by the minimap, it's not being or happening at all, but it's actually Cammy who looks in that direction of Toos. Drops him down to just a sliver of HP. Things are just going right consistently here for Cammy as a solo.
Yeah, and I mean, some free damage there for him. He gets into a nice spot into the zone. Again, we'll see where this zone pulls. If it does pull back towards the congested side, then maybe it gets awkward with some of those teams trying to look at him, but Cammy has the mats to invest to be able to stay in this game just a bit longer.
Almost forgot they were even in the game. Swizzy and Vanyak just going through unnoticed. And that's the thing about their game plan. They go through unnoticed. Very few people actually see them until it's too late, which is how they've been so insanely consistent so far. Already in this game alone, they went from 89 points in the lead to almost back over 100.
Yeah, these guys now will have a great position to just use the wings just like this with the fizz. Really nice spot. Was talking about where the zone was going to pull. It did pull right back towards Cammy, so he was in the best possible spot. You see him just there based up in front of Swizzy and Vanyak. He holds the keys to get into that next zone, but they also are in a really nice spot now to look back at some of those teams who now are trying to rotate their way on in. TD and Chap will have another avenue to get in as well, looking to potentially use some fizz and wings just to make sure they can get into that zone.
Cammy's got to be crucial here for anybody that wants to try to take the high ground off the edge of that zone when it does kind of open up. You're seeing Teeny and Chap trying to be one of the first teams there, but they keep themselves in open water. They probably think a lot of these teams are trying to use that dry land to try to build themselves, try to hold themselves up, and they're trying to use the road less traveled as Chicho. We tune in, he's going to be down. Trulex is by himself, but he's no stranger to some solo clutches. We've already seen him have some big moments this weekend by himself already.
Trulex using the medkits and Storm. We know he likes to carry him, and it just extends him a bit in this game. Thomas now playing as a solo. In the last couple of end games where we've seen him as a solo, his journey's been cut short a bit, so hopefully now he can pull out one of those classic Thomas clutches we see every FNCS. We might just start here with some shots onto Kiro.
You're starting this game in 11th place, just under Veno and Tayson. 393 points to start the game. And this is where you gotta make it past points like this. 18 players and teams still left alive. That's a good amount of placement points, but you get half inside of that top 10 and the rest of the half after that. As Trulex, he's just trying to grab as many points as possible, go through unnoticed, even it means risking the road less traveled, so that way teams can try to contest, take each other out, and get him a couple more points as Cammy using the last of his HP heals, and he lands on top of CZB. Gets a little bit of a refresher, some splashes, flow berries, and some builds to try to keep himself strong.
Cammy doing his best here solo. And I mean, we know he can clutch up and save a bunch of points. Needs to be careful. The height team's looking right at him, and there's players in the front of the zone staring in his face as well. Has to use all the remaining of these materials just to stay alive in this game.
Yeah, it's gonna be worth it for Cammy. Rather have no materials lasting long in the end game instead of trying to save them and going down altogether. Teeny, Chap, they're the ones that have that first sense of the high ground for now, but we've seen it change hands just a few times throughout the day in these last couple zones as Cammy staggering himself, trying to go through unnoticed, but almost everybody in the lobby spots him out. Tayson takes him down, but quickly falls after the comeback. Battle for the high ground is gonna fight between Malibuka and Merstash, but they dash to the front side of the zone instead.
Barely missing that shot there, Malibuka. But it's still going to be trouble in paradise for Teeny and Chap. Teeny going to force the issue here as a solo drops right down into X-Force's face and takes him down, sends him to the lobby. And so even though he doesn't have height anymore, Teeny is still going to be kicking. But look who it is. Surprise, surprise. Vanyak and Swizzy. They don't want to take this to the last game. They want to close out the FNCS right here. They want to take it for themselves. And this is the chance to do it. Swizzy goes down though. And so Vanyak is going to once again have to try to do it solo.
two different players that he can get the loot, but Teeny's also by himself. There's only one team still left in this lobby. Well, they are out. This is all solo still left alive. Malibuca dashing across, gets a huge elimination onto one. Pressured from the other side. That's Teeny knocking on the door, and he wants in.
It's the battle of the solos. Who will be victorious right now? Teeny tramples over Malibuca, and he's looking to do that a couple more times. Just one player remaining against Vanyak and Teeny. It's Hizix who's gone up to height, and Vanyak wants to stop that from happening altogether, but he's got to be careful. He's got to watch his HP. He's very, very low now, but Hizix will eventually fall. And so now the 1v1 between Teeny and Vanyak.
Teeny's taking the sacrifice, going deep in the zone, quickly dashing his way there. Vanyak now trying to drop on down, and this is it. The final moment. He's trying to take over. He just doesn't want to take part in a game like this, but he is out of builds. And Teeny, he has the high ground, and he is ready to seal the deal. But up goes Vanyak, and he steals it away. 11 eliminations. What have we just witnessed?
How many more times is Vanyak gonna clutch? How many more times are we gonna look at him and go, are you really gonna keep doing this? So many eliminations when he just shouldn't be getting any of them really, but he just makes it work every single time. The wing tech at the end, Jacob, to surprise Teeny completely and win the game. Vanyak and Swizzy, they want that FNCS championship more than anybody else right now.
I thought I saw the best play of the weekend yesterday with Podesai and Stacey in the Wings of Icarus crashing down from above, but that has just been bested. Vanyak taking over the game, taking over FNCS. That is 3 victory royales this weekend and a huge domination on that leaderboard.
These guys just cannot be phased. I mean, Swizzy's been one of the star players of the season, but Vanyak has definitely earned his fair share of plaudits. Frankie, Mini, Takata, break that one down for us.